Hey guys, Marcus from Live Life Your Way here, and got another video for you. Coffee time, so I'm just going to pop that down so I can talk to you guys. One of the things I've been talking a little bit about lately is sugars, insulin, all that sort of stuff. Another thing regarding sugars that it's important to understand is the receptors in our body. So we have certain receptors in our body that are triggered by sweet, sour, all that sort of stuff. And one of them in our tongue is called the Tas1R2 receptor. Now that's at the back of the tongue. Something that happens in our brain when something pleasures us, makes us happy, is we get a dopamine hit. Dopamine's a big trigger in the brain. And it can become addictive. So the dopamine hit is addictive. Now we get that from a various range of things. Gaming addiction, for example, is one thing that can create a dopamine hit from the gaming, from the enjoyment of the gaming. But what I'm targeting here is that Tas1R2 receptor in the tongue is a receptor that goes for our sweetness hit. When something hits the mouth, hits the tongue, that is sugar, glucose, it triggers off that receptor. And it triggers off a dopamine hit as we're eating that food. Now here's a kicker. Not only are we receptive towards the glucose to get that dopamine hit, but artificial sweeteners were designed to trigger that exact same response. They trigger off that Tas1R2 receptor without even realizing it. The artificial sweetener may not even have a sweet taste to it. But it still triggers off that receptor to create that dopamine hit when we're drinking the product or eating the food. All right, it's a sweet taste receptor. Again, we may not even be tasting the sweet, but the artificial sweetener is kicking off that receptor. So what is that doing for us? Well, that's creating that dopamine hit. Brain wants more of it, wants more dopamine. So it wants more of those foods. We end up in an addictive state towards either the glucose, the sugars, or towards those artificial sweeteners. So we want more of those foods. Where's the downside of that? Weight gain. Product placement and selling, okay? What we've got to do is we've got to understand what we're eating. We've got to understand how our body's reacting from what we're eating. And we've got to avoid some of those negative products for our body. And this is even completely separate to the insulin kick from the sugars on that receptor. So Tas1R2 receptor, you can quite welcome to look it up. There's a lot of studies on that. But it's at the back of the tongue. It's going to kick that dopamine in for the brain, making you feel good, making you want more of what you're having. And that's triggered by not only glucose and sugars, but artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners trigger that receptor for that dopamine hit, creating that addiction and that addictive issue. Okay, so just a little bit of information for you, make you aware of what you're eating, how you're eating it. Just be aware of what your body's consuming. It's more about your understanding of what you're doing. That's why I do some of these videos. Hope you're staying safe out there. I'm going to enjoy my coffee.